Minerva, I'm Jo, and today I'm here to do another beginner sewing tutorial on how to make a headband. So I've got one here which was a leftover piece of my Minerva viscose challis. This is the Freedom dress by Wardrobe by Me. It's a sort of buffet style dress with a puff sleeve. It's not too roomy, you can still get it quite fitted across the shoulder and have the room in the hips rather than sort of all over the upper body. And I've made a matching headband which I'm going to show you today. I'm going to show you how to make a jersey one that's got a twist on and a scrunchie. All you need today are scissors, some scraps and some little pieces of elastic. There is no pattern required, it's just some rectangles of some particular measurements. So you need, for the headband, and it's all a little bit approximate because obviously it's going to be on your head size, you need a piece that is 5 inches by 16 inches, that's about 12 centimetres by 40 centimetres, and another piece that's 12 inches long by 2 inches wide, or 30 centimetres by 5 centimetres, and a piece of elastic about 6 inches long. You need to thread up your machine and I'll show you how to start. Fold your band in half. You don't need to overpin, just enough to hold it together. You can use your fingers to guide it. And you're going to sew along this long edge. You can take a 1 centimetre seam allowance, you can take a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance. It really doesn't matter because it's a headband, so if you want it wider, make your seam allowance a little bit smaller. You do the same to the smaller piece. This is going to be the casing for the elastic. So just check your seam allowances here. You've got the elastic, which is 1.5 centimetres wide. Then make sure you've got a space for your elastic there, 1.5 centimetres. So don't make the seam allowance too big there. So you should end up with 2 tubes. And I'll show you how to attach the elastic. You press the bands so that the seam is running down the centre, and the same on the elastic one, and then you take a 6-inch piece of elastic, that's a little bit long, and you thread it into your casing. Let that go all the way along, don't let it scoot through. So now you can sew across the ends to hold the elastic in place. Next, we're going to put the elastic back neck tab onto the headband. So you have the headband face up, the seam is on the back, our elastic tab right side up facing, so the 2 right sides are touching and the seams are on the outside that we can see. We can see the seam there and we can see the seam there. I'm going to place it in the middle here, and we're going to fold over both ends of the headband and secure it in place. Now it's tricky there, you might, if you can't fit a pin on, you might need to put a little clip on, but just so you've gripped it together. and we're going to sew across that end, and we're also going to do the same on the other end. Put the elastic in the middle and fold both ends over. You know you'll be something like right because you'll have the seams running up the centre. That one's perhaps a little bit off. Change that one. And now I'm going to sew over both ends. And to trim the ends. We'll go forwards and backwards a few times there. And then you can flip that raw edge inside the headband, and from this side you don't see it. You can give it a little press if you want, but you get a sort of really neat sort of crossover envelope shape. And that is the headband. So that's the headband. That's the same style as this. So this has got the elastic on the back. I'm going to show you how to use that same technique, but to get like a turban twist on the top. So I'll use some stretchy jersey for the next one. You need to cut out similar pieces. So we've got 2 this time because we want one piece to twist through another piece, a casing for our elastic, and our 6 inches of elastic. So let me give you the measurements in case you want to make one. So this one is 18 inches by 7 inches, or 46 centimetres by 18 centimetres. And your little tie piece is 11 inches long and 3 inches wide. That's 28 by 7.5 centimetres. But you need 2 of the larger size. And again, let's go through a similar process. So we're going to fold them in half and make ourselves 3 tubes. 1, 2, 3, and then we've got our elastic ready. If you're trying to hold these really thick ends together, you can use a bulky seam aid which is like a little plastic tool. Looks like a piece of packaging, so you might have thrown it away accidentally, but you sometimes get one with your machine, and it helps you to go through really thick layers of fabric. So you can see that my machine foot is dipping right down at the back, and the front is up here, is way up in the air. So we need to level that out to stop us getting skip stitches. So the needle's in, foot's up, and then I'm going to put the piece of plastic behind, and that's leveled up my foot now. So I can jump right up onto that thick piece of fabric. And the opposite will happen on the way down. The front of the foot will flop down. So I'm going to put my seam aid at the front. It's sort of like a false foot plate, a movable false foot plate. But it helps you to get through really thick layers of fabric. It's good for bag making and things like that. And in this case, thick layers of jersey. So you can see this is the same technique as that first one, but you get the twist shape at the top. Actually, that's really comfortable, that one. That's lovely. While we're here, I've got a few more minutes left, so I'll just show you how to make a scrunchie. Scrunchies again are a sort of approximate size. So this is a viscose challis, so that's going to scrunch up really nice and small. So that one is 16 inches long by 5 inches wide. That's 40 centimeters long by 12 inches wide, 12 centimeters wide. But if I was making it in a cotton, this is a cotton sateen, I might make it a touch smaller because this doesn't quite gather up the same. A cotton doesn't quite gather up the same as a viscose. I'll get a few more gathers. So you can sort of experiment. Different fabrics will gather up at different rates, and you might want a really gathered scrunchie. It depends how you're going to wear it in your hair. And you will also need some elastic. Try not to use really thick elastic in a scrunchie, because otherwise it's not really acting like a hairband, so you need quite a thin elastic. So you need some elastic to go inside. Okay, we're going to pin the long edge together, right sides together. And I don't normally pin a scrunchie too much, but viscose is just a little bit more fluid. And I'm going to leave 1 inch at the end to join my scrunchie together. So if I want to stop sewing, I always add 2 pins because that tells me to do something different. And the same on the other end. So on the other end, I'm going to put 2 pins to say, hold on a minute, Joanne, you need to leave a bit at the end. And now we've got 2 ends. Of course, we left that inch at the end to give ourselves a little bit of handling room. So we're going to put the right sides together. Make sure it's not twisted. I'm going to sew under the machine. Now, I know if you're new to sewing, pins feel really helpful, but in this case, it's sort of difficult to get pins in the end. So just pin the end to get you started. And then when you get under the machine, just keep sort of turning the work around and moving it around till you go off the other end. And just sewing those right sides together all the way around. It's just difficult to pin that because it's on quite a steep curve. And then you've got your opening, and you can put through your piece of elastic. It needs to be about half the width of your elastic. Now you can thread through your elastic. It needs to be about half the width of your scrunchie. And you can put that through the middle. Now this does scoop through, so just put a pin in the end. There it is. You can decide how much stretch you want there, and then you can tie the ends together or you can sew them. It really doesn't matter. You want to test it out first. You can tie them, let it go inside and try it. I'd like that to be a bit less because I want it to go around my hair twice. When you've chose the length of your elastic, you can then sew up the end. You can hand stitch that or machine stitch it. Here, just on the end, and that's your scrunchie finished. There you are, 3 ways to make a headband. So the first one has the elastic in and a straight band. Use the same net technique to knot through 2 pieces so they're just hooked through each other, and of course good old-fashioned scrunchie. I hope that might get you started in sewing, or it might help you to teach somebody else in your family how to sew. And if you'd like more inspiration, then do pop over to www.minerva.com and have a look at our tutorials, what our Minerva makers have been making and what we've got on offer. Thank you very much for watching. Do come back for more tutorials soon.